Hello, everyone. My name is Harjit and I'm part of the Windows commercial team at Microsoft. Welcome to Tackling Tech. In this episode, we take you on the road to MMS conference in Minneapolis. And joining me is my good friend and colleague, Joe Lurie. Hello, Joe.
Hey Harjit, I was wondering when you were going to ever invite me to join this show. I've been watching episode after episode. I'm like, I helped bring you onto Microsoft. You're in the role I used to be in, and finally, you bring me on board.
Why are we doing the show? What's this all about?
So we, as you said, we were at MMS, the Midwest Management Summit in Minneapolis, in the beginning of May. And we had the opportunity to talk to several of the attendees, some MVPs, the Microsoft Valuable Professionals. We talked to some attendees who aren't MVPs. They just like to use Microsoft products. And some of them, they just want to learn how to use the products. And that's why they're at MMS. And we got a chance to talk to a lot of them about their experiences.
Yeah, we had a good time, actually. It was really fun. And interactive, and I think you and I learned a lot as well
For sure.
From all of them.
I mean, in my job, I talk to customers, large enterprise customers, and here I got the opportunity to talk to one woman. She had 30 devices she's managing. Another one had 300 devices, and typically mine are 10,000, 40,000. One of my customers has well over 500,000 devices. So talking to the smaller companies and how they use our products was fantastic. It's such a learning experience for me.
And for me, even when we talk about the 30 device companies and stuff like that, they're just as important as the 300,000.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Everyone is trying to use our solutions and managing their devices and being productive and all that.
And we want to make sure their stories are heard and what features are they looking for. We talk to the big box stores that have hundreds of thousands of devices, but how about you? What features are you missing? What are you looking for? And let's see what we can do to help you out as well. So this was a great experience.
Right, and they have different challenges, right? Different challenges, different needs, and whatnot. Whether they're like a little mom and pop shop or whatever, right? So we gotta try to listen into all aspects of our user base and stuff. So that's wonderful. Do you have before you and I did some really fun video interviews with some of these IT pros there. We had some really good conversations, but are there any specific from sessions and conversations, whether it was at the Microsoft booth and so on?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little biased here. There's two things. One, I was at the Microsoft booth, so of course it was a conference, so we had swag, we had mugs and whatnot to give away. We had hats, but somehow our swag company, they got us children's hats, right? Like infant toddler hats. So we couldn't bring them, although I thought that would have been fun as well to bring them, but we didn't. But anyway, so I had a table next to that. So as people were coming in, they would stop and we would ask them questions. They would talk to us. They have either issues or they just wanted to say thank you for bringing things like remote help into Intune. I probably talked to, no lie, I probably talked to 300 people over the course of 4 days. Easily. Standing at my high top table, for sure, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I love that. And then we had the Ask Microsoft Anything where everyone was welcome to come in and just ask a question to anyone from Microsoft that you happen to see available. And we had people in the stage, we had people in the audience able to answer those questions. So that was a great time.
That was.
And I think people on Twitter liked it as well, from what I saw.
Oh yeah. And then you and I did a session together along with our a few of our other colleagues, and that went really well as well.
Yeah, it did. It was a great experience. It was my second MMS, and it was a great experience. And I'm hoping for more. Miami is coming up, and then every year, so I'm hoping for more.
Hey Joe, let's show everyone how much fun we had, and let's check out our first interview, and that's with our friend Rudy Ooms. All right, so we're back again with another victim.
A victim? That's another fun name. Right. I feel a victim. Okay, yeah.
So we're here at MMS, and we're going to talk about Microsoft technologies.
Yep.
You are well known in the community.
Apparently.
Some
people know me.
Right. So one of the things I really, really enjoy about you is that you write some wicked
awesome vlogs.
Yeah, but that's what I do.
That's what you do. You really get very technical into
The deep dive stuff.
Deep dives into Microsoft products.
Also known as Mr. Deep Dive by now, so yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let's go. Joe will ask you some questions. And
Okay.
Yeah, so
What do you want to talk about?
I want to know how you got into that part of your life where you just, something breaks.
Yeah.
You want to know why it breaks.
Otherwise, I can troubleshoot it.
And you can write a blog about it.
Yeah.
So let the world know, if I have this problem, then
Yeah.
you probably had this
Yeah.
problem, and here's why it happened.
Yeah.
What got you into that?
What got me into it? It was like more. I was dealing with on-premise stuff a lot, with shared Active Directory, shared Exchange servers. So I did my fair part in the legacy stuff, and somehow we needed to migrate the users to a modern workplace. So that's where Intune HRD came in. But while enrolling customers, we stumbled upon autopilot issues, TPM issues, profile issues, app issues with the ESP, and all that kind of stuff. And in the beginning, I was like, I know a lot about the legacy stuff, but I still don't know a lot about the modern stuff. So I was something like, I can do also modern stuff. So I decided to spend some more time on it, looking at things, and just like a rabbit hole, once you go in it, it takes you down,
into a rabbit hole.
And every time you look at something, you look, oh, I didn't know that. And from that point, you go down, I also didn't know that. And I didn't know that. Just like the EPM reporting stuff. I was like, sensor log, WMI autologger. I was like, oh, how did I miss that?
Right.
And somehow it's in there. And
so what are the things that you tend to focus more in terms of, like your peers, right? So they're reaching out to you, you're a Microsoft MVP and all that stuff. And it's like, hey, we need some help with this.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to find out. Like, okay, where can Microsoft help you, help the community as well? So one of the things, like, is it autopilot? Is it patching? Is it something, right?
it depends, but the one moment it's autopilot, the other moment it's TPM stuff, because I'm dealing with TPM, but just like the tree I showed in the session with Niehaus, autopilot contains not only autopilot, what is autopilot? It's a combination of all sorts of stuff. So it's the ESP, it's TPM, it's everything. So yeah, a lot of customers complain about autopilot, but it isn't autopilot. It's something in the process of enrolling your device with autopilot. So
it's a good point. Autopilot is it's enrollment, it's
SUID, it's identification.
It's a lot of things all at once.
Yes.
Even in Intune, you look at the Intune blade, there's 80 different things that a lot of different processes.
And I got a lot of questions from customers if I could help them with an HRD environment that is giving issues, or in a hybrid environment.
Yeah.
So somehow people think of me that I love hybrid, so they always ask me how to do hybrid stuff and how to troubleshoot out the hybrid stuff. I'm like,
but then you tell them not to do hybrid, right?
Yes.
So when you're dealing with those, are you taking that opportunity and say, hey, let's switch you over to Azure AD?
Let's take a look at the session I'm doing with Matthias, because in the session I put a GIF like hybrid autopilot, and everything is on fire on the background. So that makes sense, right? So yeah, I'm telling them to
but
get rid of it.
Even outside of autopilot, you have hybrid Azure AD deployed for other
Yeah,
reasons.
for existing devices, it's okay. New devices, no. Just Azure ID only, because you can still do everything else. Almost everything else, but for like 90% of the stuff you can
The
do
devices that you're managing, are they moving to Windows 11 yet? Or your customers, are they moving to Windows 11 yet?
I'm like 99% of them are moved to Windows 11.
Oh,
So it's only some of the devices that still have some weird thing on them that needs to be Windows 10 for now, but if the software supply fixes their stuff, we can move over to Windows 11.
So you're dealing with a lot of customers. What are the challenges that they are facing or that they are reaching out to you for? And for example, whether it's Windows 11, whether it's the usability of it, managing it, things like that?
It's everything. So we are delivering our complete package to the customer. So through question about Windows 11, how to migrate from Windows 10 to 11,
Right.
how to deploy the updates linked to the devices, how to make sure they're always up to date, just like Gaten was telling, how to dealing with the drivers and the firmware updates.
Drivers and firmware, right.
Also very important, but that's something you really need to take care of. So hopefully.
Have you started talking about AutoPatch to your customers yet? That's something that you've approached them or they've approached you?
AutoPatch not that much because they're still deploying the Windows Update wins like they should. So AutoPatch, I love the product, but somehow the customers don't need it quite yet. So yeah, that's what I mentioned. It's a love product, but yeah, they don't ask for it. So yeah.
Okay. What would you like to have people from Microsoft work with you on?
Like you have a lot of.
I have a list.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But give us.
You have a lot of backbones to different groups on Microsoft.
Yeah.
What can we do to help you?
Sometimes I like to be in contact with the engineering team behind the product, but getting in touch with the engineering team or the devs, it's hard. Especially the TPM devs and those guys. It's very hard.
It's hard for us.
Yeah, because one time I got a question for them, and that was a good one because the first thing they told me, we don't recognize your notification. That error is it coming from us? I was like, it's coming from you. So
yeah.
But getting in contact with them, yeah, the communication between me and Microsoft, I would love to have.
You want to narrow that down a little bit.
So you share information. Okay, you need to read. Oh well, the NDA stuff. Okay, that's hard for me. But so it should be fine that I could talk to me about stuff, so I could help my customers dealing with it.
And ultimately help Microsoft.
Yeah, because if you help me, I help you, and from there, great connection. I guess.
Rudy, you're a wealth of knowledge. You're amazing.
Yeah, but you too.
Thank you so much for doing this. Seriously.
Yeah, great. Felt my honor.
So yeah, Rudy is amazing to talk to. He's just as amazing to read his blogs and to just see what he's going through. He goes to just install something in his lab and something's broken, something's missing, a certificate or a permission, and he really wants to dive deep into see what that is. It's amazing watching him. Like, I don't watch him work, but I can see him work through his blogs.
Oh my God, I've seen his blogs, and not only that they're witty when it comes to his titles, they crack me up every single time I see them, but they get so deep. Like, he really analyzes, like, for example, if he takes TPM, he goes deep into TPM issues and how they work and what they do, and, in various levels, and autopilot.
Yeah, I mean, He's DM'd me on Twitter before, and I'm like, dude, I have no idea. And I have to go find, as in your example, a TPM expert or an Intune dev or something, just to get half the knowledge that Rudy has. It's amazing.
Yeah. One of the things that he told us, he said, I like to get more access to engineering and devs at Microsoft so that I can actually tell them the problem where the problem lies.
I love that. Yeah, he wants to. He doesn't want to work for Microsoft. He just wants to tell Microsoft, what's broken and how they can fix it. And that's amazing. It's pretty cool.
All right. So, and let's transition to our next interview.
All right. So, Craig.
Yeah.
We've talked before.
Yes.
You were almost going to do the IT Pro Reviews with me.
Yeah.
Right. So we're here now. We're catching you in person.
Perfect. Yeah.
You almost were going to do. That's a good way to put it.
Almost going to.
Yeah. There was a timing issue. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
So we're at MS.
Yep.
So if you already know me, you've already met Joe.
Yeah.
We've got some questions for you.
Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah. So you're a consultant. So you talk to other companies. You're not your own IT. You're not IT for your bigger company.
Yep.
The customers that you go to, are they using Windows Intune, using Intune to manage their devices? And those devices, are they running Windows 11 yet?
Universally, yes, using Intune. For context, a lot of our work is M&A transaction related, so we get the opportunity to stand up basically new companies from scratch that have no IT.
I have so many questions I can ask you about M&A, but we don't have time.
No worries, but universally, we're setting up Intune in those situations, and Windows Autopilot, the whole bit. Are they using Windows?
Autopilot.
Yeah, both. Are they using Windows 11? It's honestly it's a mix. Some companies, yes. The honest truth is, like, if you're on a 12th gen or newer Intel system, you should be on Windows 11.
So that's my next question. Are you recommending to them to move to Windows 11?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right? Because if you're still on Windows 10, you're going to observe a 10 to 20% performance hit, and things like Teams meetings are going to be impacted because Windows 10 is not able to schedule, not to get too nerdy, but it's not able to schedule processes on that big little architecture very well, like Windows 11 is.
So that's the.
So
those are some of the values you're selling to your customers.
yeah, I mean that's a very tactical one, but it's an obvious one that everybody can get behind. Nobody wants to issue their employees a slower system or a handicap system. It's not a good experience. So yeah, but
Anything about accessibility features for the people? Like
that hasn't come up honestly. In my context, a lot of it is just like speed to value. Like what can we deploy quickly? The other part of it is a lot of the OEMs are selling computers with Windows 11 preloaded. So trying to do a downgrade to Windows 10 also doesn't make sense. But the balance is, if a company is less technical, sometimes they are coming from, it's a situation where they have to get live very quickly. They don't have opportunity to train people. So we do deploy Windows 10 sometimes, but there's usually a roadmap to kind of get to Windows 11 in the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
So that's how we leave things.
When you move to Windows 11, are you using Windows Update for Business? Are you using Reset?
Yeah, it's Windows Update for Business would be the method, as well as just normal attrition. Sometimes we're repurposing existing hardware. In that situation, that would be a reset most likely, or maybe a re-image to get the OEM image.
Right.
And then we're bringing them into autopilot Intune. So in those cases, there might be natural attrition coming once as well.
The customers that you work with, what are their sizes generally? Are they small to mid-size? Are they large customers?
I'd say mid to large, or mid to large-ish. I would say so. Small on the smaller side for us would be like maybe 200 employees.
Okay.
Larger side would be, there's some big ones, but I'd say like a typical large company would be 4,000 to 6,000.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
What are some of the challenges? So we talked about the benefits. What are some of the challenges you face as a consultant when you're talking to your customers in terms of management of Windows 11,
Yep.
then Windows 11, or even using Intune?
Sure.
What do you see they give us some feedback on?
Yeah, I think for Windows 11, honestly, like the biggest hurdle is just the UI change. It's not bad, but any change is like, okay, now we got to communicate this. The service desk is going to get questions. That's the main. It's not really a blocker, but it's the main hesitancy.
Do they? In my team, we start thinking, if I'm an end user and I have Windows 10 and I have Windows 7 before that and I have Windows XP, so the start menu's always been on the left, and I now see it in the middle. Do I call the help desk or do I click the start button?
It totally depends on the company culture. I think I think most people are rational and they're used to some of these relatively small changes, so it's not a big deal. But some companies, that sort of thing causes a freak out. It just depends.
Right.
So I think that's probably the biggest hurdle in going to 11. As far as Intune and that, that's going to be staff training in this case, right? Like I'm working with companies that often, they're coming from more of a larger enterprise where people were in more of a siloed role, and now they're being IT for their own new company.
So you guys are coming in and training the IT staff?
To a degree, right? To the extent we have time and scope. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like it's not a big hurdle. We do, I think, a really good job in making sure. Like one of our differentiators is that we want to make sure the tenant is fully secured up to like not just Microsoft standards, but also like CIS, for example.
Right.
So we're going in there and we're deploying the CIS benchmark for Windows 11 or Windows 10, and so they're kind of getting off on a really good foot. And so a lot of it's like, okay, we used to deploy software this other way, and now we're in Intune. So how do we do that? So those are the kinds of things we help them through, but it's really not a big lift. So
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time.
of course,
It was great
thanks, Joe.
talking to you.
RJ, good seeing you. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yep. Okay.
Cheers.
Thanks.
All right, Joe. So what do you what's your takeaway from Frank?
Yeah, I was going to say what I really like about Frank's, what he talks about is that his customers are comfortable with Windows 11. They want to use Windows 11. And again, because he works with so many different customers, he has that insight from not just from him, his peers, and his people, but from other peers as well and other customers as well. I think it's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. And, again, reiterating, he talked about performance increases with Windows 11. downgrading from OEMs, that come with Windows 11 to Windows 10 does not make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm glad that he recognizes that. I really am. I wish more of our customers recognize that, but I'm glad that he recognizes that.
Right. All right. So let's check out the next one with Hailey Phillips.
Haley,
Yes.
well, we met last night.
Yes.
Right? So you got great energy, and I was like, I gotta talk to her. I gotta pull in my colleague here, Joe. We gotta talk to you about technology.
And we met yesterday or Sunday or something, because you came to talk to us at our booth.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're fully in the Microsoft suite. We are using Intune. We do have co-management right now, but we've moved all of our workloads into Intune. We're now piloting Windows Auto Patch. We're fully integrated with Windows Update for Business. Yeah.
And Auto Patch, you're doing Azure AD.
Yeah, so right now we're just like piloting that with like a smaller subsection of the work, but probably my favorite thing is just like the native integration. The pushback from users is significantly less with reboots. It's super seamless and they're enjoying it. So my compliance is going up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you are in total control of that small subset of users. You can add devices as you want, or remove them if you.
So there's a level of granularity that is like removed, but I don't need it as much as I previously had to, because now I can like pause updates.
Yeah.
But because I have better adoption, I don't have to do that as frequently.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Windows 11?
So that was a big initiative for our org for this year, but unfortunately it had to get a little bit sidetracked because we had some other big organizational initiatives we had to take over. Yeah.
That's it, right
Yeah.
there.
And, all right. So how are your users, your people? Windows features and functionality, productivity, things like that.
So basically, any of our developers would really like it because they're Mac individuals, but anyone that thinks it's not, we've got people that we kind of have some more like user education that we're really having to focus on. We have some legacy apps that need to go through a little bit more rigorous testing before we can really move forward.
So have you used services from Microsoft like TestBase and Azure and those kind of things?
We're working on all of that, yeah. So that's part of why we're coming here, is to hear about some other testing opportunities that we can use.
Your developers are running Mac.
Yes.
Are they managed Mac OS devices?
Yeah, so we use Jamf for that. Yeah.
And have you connected so that you can manage with Jamf and still use us for compliance and?
Yeah, we're actually playing with a lot of that. Yeah, so we use Azure AD. We use My Apps right now. So yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any deep questions?
Yeah. So I know you're using Autopatch. I know you said you're using
Pilot?
compliance and
Yep.
Autopilot. Your Autopilot deployments, you started to talk to us a little bit about that and how they're moving to Azure AD join. They're hybrid Azure AD join now with Autopilot, or are you not autopiloting the hybrid?
We're not autopiloting the hybrid. So before I came to the org, there was some members who had done hybrid joining for autopilot, and I was like, we stop the presses, we can't do this. This is the worst idea ever. I was like, this is going to ruin let's just stay with staff sequences if we're going to do this. So yeah, so I showed my boss all of the things that I could do with Azure AD only joining and how helpful that was. And what was great is because we are already doing zero-touch deployments for Mac with Jamf, it was really easy to sell to move over to autopilot.
The Windows.
Yeah, yeah.
So with your Windows 10 and Windows 11, Windows 10, are you at the 22H2?
Yeah. Oh, we're latest. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And you heard the announcement, right?
Yeah.
This week,
Yep.
last one,
Oh yeah.
we're done,
Yep.
extended until 2025.
Security updates every month?
Yep.
Feature updates, Windows 11.
Yes. Yes. Have absolutely.
Yes,
I have a huge presentation to give to all of the tech org when I come back.
All
So,
right,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions?
No, this is great.
Yeah.
Thanks-
No.
Thanks for being candid with us and,
Yeah, absolutely. So one feedback though that I do want to give for Microsoft that I'm really excited about is Azure Arc enabled servers.
Okay.
So we have a bunch of on-prem servers that I made Azure Arc enabled so that way I could manage patches with Azure. And then also wanting to bring AWS instances in. So there's some additional functionality that would really like that would make it so much easier for me to sell to the rest of the org.
Okay.
But couple of things that I have to be able to fix first.
Okay.
So it's great that you're here because there's like a lot of us here that can take that feedback. You know, I'm on the CXC desk. We have a stargazing people there. But before you talk to any of them about that, are you using MDE or MDE attached on those servers? I don't know if it's really called MDE attached. It's what we're calling it. Endpoint on the server.
Oh, okay. I need to double check because that's a different team, unfortunately.
Okay.
I think we are, but
Between MDE attach and Azure Arc, you can probably get your servers out of configuration manager and start managing those. Again, I know you get some feedback on Azure Arc, and we'll take that feedback.
Yeah.
But once everything is unblocked for you, you can probably move your devices out of config manager to Intune, move your servers out of that config manager to Azure Arc.
yeah. So
Using
they
MDE
all of our servers are already in Azure Arc. It's more that just there are specific work flows for patching that I would like to see in Azure Arc.
Okay.
So.
Sure.
Awesome.
You guys are right people here to talk to you.
Make sure you take advantage of it. Right?
Yeah, no, I will. It's making all of you talk to me.
Yeah. So it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Great to meet you. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
for your time.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cheers.
All right. So what do you thought about Haley?
Haley was amazing because what she did, like she came to my booth on Sunday. Like the conference was Monday through Thursday. She came to my booth on Sunday. She introduced herself. She's outgoing. She asked some questions. And then I saw her so many times throughout the week in sessions, at lunch. She is the reason that conferences like MMS exist because
Absolutely.
you can have a large conference, Microsoft Ignite, 30,000 people are there, but how often do those people walk up to a speaker or walk into an engineer at a booth to ask very specific questions that they need answered? At this conference, it's a smaller conference, and she's outgoing. I think she actually had an I'm extroverted sticker on her name badge. She just wanted answers, and she was not afraid
definitely
to ask.
has the energy and the passion, and she cares about technology, and it shows. So a few things that I picked up from her. Her company is piloting Azure AD Join. They're using AutoPatch, and also they're not autopiloting hybrid Azure AD Join devices. She talked to her boss to show them.
It doesn't make sense, right?
It doesn't make sense.
We have a saying on our CAT team: "Friends don't let friends hybrid Azure AD join with autopilot."
Exactly.
And she gets that. So she gets
All
that.
right, that's good. All right, so let's check out our last one for this episode on part 1, and it's with our friend Johannes.
All right.
Hello.
So we're here at MMS. And I'm Harjit.
I'm Johannes.
I'm Joe.
Okay. So we would like to talk to you about Intune and Windows 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are one of our MVPs, Microsoft Valuable
Minimum viable product.
Yes. Our valuable professional. So what attracts you to Intune? We'll start with that. Why are you an MVP? What attracts you there?
So what attracted me to Intune modern management and cloud adoption in general was it significantly reduced our ability to accumulate technical debt. That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. It's almost a negative.
Yeah.
A positive negative. Whatever.
But that has been the biggest benefit. That it's not tangible. You can notice it unless you actually can check for it. We actually don't have anything old and weird anymore that breaks all the time.
So your devices, your endpoints, you're doing Windows and mobile?
Mainly Windows. We don't do mobile, but that's for political reasons.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
That's for another. That's for another conversation. So with Windows, you're using your Windows 10 or Windows 11. Are you on Windows 11 yet?
Every device that can run Windows 11 is on Windows 11.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Did that in January.
And what's your refresh cycle like for the rest of it?
That's a bit complicated. We have. Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Think about
Yeah, it's a bit different. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about Windows 11?
We like it. We had a surprisingly high number of users who requested it because they liked what do they call it, the snap
Snap layout.
Snap layout, yeah, they love that. Especially users who have like really wide screen.
Right.
And surprisingly enough, people who have wide screens, they love the start menu this time.
Right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Because of white screen.
Yes.
Exactly. You don't have to go look for it.
All the way down for it, yeah.
We did not expect that, but people actually requested this, and we just like, yeah, take it away.
So your people actually requested for Windows 11 because of the features.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, they have it at home,
right.
and like, oh, I come to work and I have it's
Something
old.
I have something old, right?
Yeah.
It's old.
And we figured like, hey, like, what's the value of holding back? So just roll it out.
Okay.
How did you roll it out?
With Windows Update for Business.
Good.
Windows Update for Business.
Yeah.
Okay.
We switched away from WSUS 2 years ago.
Okay.
Best decision I've made in my professional career by far.
And new devices? Autopilot?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've been doing that since 2021.
What about autopilot?
It works. I mean, that's the whole thing. It works.
That's the best answer ever. What else can we ask?
Well, we are in the middle of migrating away from Content Manager to being purely Intune.
Okay.
It's a process, but
Okay.
it's totally doable.
Okay. So what are your what's your feedback or for example like things like Intune Suite, right? Intune Suite and all the new things that are coming out and when we are headed with
Can you get me any big discounts?
There is incubation pricing.
your Johannes discount, right?
I understand that currently it might not be as attractive, but clearly going forward, Microsoft's going to be adding a whole lot of stuff to this. So I wouldn't judge the pricing of the current feature set too harshly right now.
Okay.
So you mentioned, I think it's probably one of the last questions, you mentioned that you're moving from Config Manager, co-management to Intune.
Yeah.
And it's been a little challenging. What can we do to make that process easier? What are the challenges, I suppose, is
the grouping and targeting and
Okay.
reports in Intune are not as good as it should be.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the main one. As far as migrating, the only workload that is genuine pain in the ass is moving all the applications. Because that's just a manual process.
So you have the workload slider moved over.
Oh, yeah, all of them, yeah.
But you're still deploying apps to Config Manager as well.
But we are slowly moving them over. And since you can have, what's it called? Basically now all our users, they use the company portal, so they can't tell if the app is
Yeah,
coming
they don't know
from
if it's
yeah.
Software Center, company portal, it's all company portal. Yeah, nice.
This has been great. Thank you. Keep it short and sweet. Wonderful perspective.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, so thoughts about Johannes? What do you have to say?
Johannes, another MVP, Microsoft Valuable Professional, another one that just talked about Windows 11 and some things that we don't really get on my side because I'm more in the Intune side, and we do talk to our customers about Windows 11, but most of them they have this perception that their users are going to have trouble with the start menu. They're going to have trouble, finding things. And Johannes is like, my people are using Windows 11 at home. They know exactly what it looks like. They came to us asking for Windows 11. Like they were ready for it before we were ready to give it to them.
Right. And one of the things, like he said, is that his people are using Windows 11 at home, right?
Right.
And because they're already there, so we have sometimes we hear from people like, oh, it's our end users or people that are resisting. It's actually they've been using it even before it gets to the audience. Right. So good stuff.
Yeah. So they come to work and they think, why am I using? I'm going to use the term legacy. They're probably using the term old. Why am I using an old system at work? Even my system at home is newer than this, right? And so then he's like, okay, right, man, let's get you Windows 11. We'll bring you up to modernization.
That's it. All right, Joe, this has been great. This is only part 1. We're going to be back on part 2, and I appreciate that you helped tackle some tech together.
It was a great tackling of tech. Thanks for having me.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for watching Tackling Tech. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learned something new. Please like and subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with the latest episodes. And if you have any feedback or suggestions for future episodes, please let us know in the comments below. And you can also follow me on Twitter for more updates and behind the scenes looks of Tackling Tech. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.